Hello, I think I'm live. I'm pretty sure it's working. Kirsty should be on here shortly. So this is what I hope will be the first of many lives with people in Perth to talk about health and happiness. I'm not sure how all this works, really, but we'll work it out. But we're talking to Kirsty today. Should be here shortly. And I'm coming to you from the back of the van down the beach because it is my favourite place. Alright. I think this is the part where like hundreds of people come on all of a sudden. But no. Alright, so we're still just waiting for Kirsty. I assume I'll know when she comes on. G'day, Mark. Is that you, Ben? Alright, still waiting. I think she's coming. Hey!
James, how are ya?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Keen to do it?
Huh?
I said keen to do it. Ready
This is all very new to me. I have no idea.
to go?
Absolutely. This is a first for me. I was very unsure how to do this, but we got there.
That's okay. I think everyone's the same. Then you just kind of have to do it, and then you figure it out. So if anyone is watching this and they've never done a live before, they also have no idea how terrifying it is. So fair enough.
Yeah, I've only been thinking about this for like an hour, so it's alright.
I literally just got home from the gym, so I've not been thinking about this at all in a good way. You'll be fine. But you're asking me the questions today, right?
Yeah, of course. So I do have a few things lined up. Maybe we can just start with just a quick self-introduction from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a few of my own followers jumped on, so thank you so much, guys. Much appreciated. I'm Kirsty. I'm the owner of a pretty much fully holistic wellness studio in Perth Hills called Equilibrium HQ. And what we focus on is closing the gap between mental and physical well-being. So that's my business. My personal stuff is I just love helping people, helping them trying to find a little bit of balance in their life, which I just kind of realized, not just realized, but I've just started to harness in regards to balance is still bullshit. And there's no such thing as 50-50. It's more like, how can you make your life work in efficiency with what's going on around you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll come back to the balance bit because that is an interesting bit.
Mm.
My phone?
No, it's just my phone keeps like dimming its light, which is annoying. It's fine.
All right, no worries. I'm actually in the van down the back of the beach still.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm in my office.
Exactly, it is, yeah. I've been down here all day. Anyway. So I
That's
guess we
good.
met not that long ago at a little workshop run by Rachel. And my first impressions of you were that you're gone. We've lost Kirsty.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's because my phone's auto locking, and I'm like, no, I'm busy. So I'll just have to keep tapping my screen. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, continue. So yeah, we met at a workshop. You were saying.
Yes, so run by Rachel. And if my first impression of you was that you were quite a go-getter, quite focused, quite motivated. And I'm always super drawn to people like that. Obviously, surround yourself with people that I guess you kind of want to be more like and that do represent qualities that you like. I guess one day I want to talk more about business side, which is obviously one of my two great loves. But today, just focusing on the health and wellness side, the health and well-being side. Starting with, I guess, the journey kind of to where you are now as the owner of a wellness studio. I know you said you played sport growing up, but was health and wellness always something that you were exposed to at home growing up?
No, like not at all.
Uh-huh.
I love my parents dearly, but they are not the definition of health and fitness, which I think most of us can relate to. And to be honest, I have a really random story. I got into PT because I wanted to just do it as a job while I was at uni, and I was meant to actually study business at uni. I was meant to do commerce and major in human resources, which never ended up happening. I started my, yeah, I know, always the way. And then I started my PT business from my parents' garage. I was 17, which I don't know if everyone even knows that. And it just kind of grew from there. And I was like, you know what? I actually hell love this. I'll keep going. And then I just developed this passion for it. And then I think as I got older, it stopped being about aesthetics and it started being about mental health and actually starting to look after yourself. Because I think, James, you would also know that if we're not moving our bodies, our mind starts to do some pretty dangerous stuff as well.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
dangerous,
Like you definitely,
not positive.
you definitely notice a link between being physically active, and being more energized and focused. Like, there's definitely mental benefits. That's one of the first things I noticed working with a PT at like 19. I was working a sales job, and it's almost like you got me eating right, working out regularly, and my sales increased. Like, I think just because of purely focus and energy, it was incredible.
100%. 100%.
I mean, he super motivated me to change a lot of things I was doing. Was there anyone in your life that I guess illuminated that path for you? Like, obviously, you didn't grow up with health and wellness being in the family so much, but like, what happened made you see differently?
That is such a good question, and I actually don't know the answer. But I think at the time, social media wasn't really a thing. Like, I used to advertise on like Gumtree. And like when I first started, that's how marketing went down. And I think as I was more involved in the fitness industry in the last few years, that I really truly realized how incredible that circle of fit, healthy, vibrant, not even just like necessarily fit, but just vibrant people, how important that was. And I can't say there was any key figure. I think it was more a collective. It was like a collective of like, these people there's something about them. Like, they are brighter. And I think the same goes for us too as well, is they're brighter. People become like attracted to that. You just become a magnetic person the more you start to prioritize yourself and the more you start to prioritize everything that's going on inside of you. So I think it was just the collective of the fitness industry kind of helped me realize the potential that we had to help people, if that answers your question.
Yeah, well, I guess in much the same way that I believe that if we start focusing on ourselves, like changing the way we're eating, exercising regularly, we feel better. We kind of rub off on the people around us and become an influence on them as well at some point.
Yes.
yeah, so you were kind of influenced by other people already looking after their health, and you saw a different.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I was so young, so I was very impressionable. And I think it was just that I was thankfully, I guess, guided by the right people. Like, I never personally went down the bodybuilding route, but I used to look at, not that I not that I ever wanted to it either, is it was more in like I would look at that and I would see the discipline and I'd be like, that's incredible. And then I would look at like the physios or the people that had a very functional approach, and I'd be like, well, that's really cool, that's important as well. And then it just became all these little things. And I think that the person, like, obviously we're the ones that put the puzzle together at the end of the day. And I think that some of the pieces of my puzzle was just investing in going to seminars and going to webinars and going to workshops and just gaining as much knowledge as I could. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Looking back, were there any kind of like tools or habits or behaviors that you started to pick up that you think really made a big difference in on the path to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. Habits would have been, and I dabble between a few different things. I'm not the definition of an always consistent routine kind of gal. I have to intuitively pick what I feel like doing. So sometimes that is journaling, sometimes that is meditation, and it depends on the day, although I know the benefits to all of them. I think some of the standout habits for me definitely is meditation. The easiest way to get into that is to download a meditation app. I highly recommend investing in 10% Happier or Headspace, and just start by checking in with your body and just actually realizing that your breath affects so many different things. So that was definitely a tool and a habit. And journaling wasn't something I got into until maybe the last few years, and I just realized it gave me so much insight into my mind. Like, we get so caught up in here, and usually we can't figure it out because there's too many narrators. Like, we're like certified insane if we went into our brain and had a conversation with someone. And I just found that I had to get it out onto paper because I was just like, why can't I figure this thing out? Or why do I think this? And that was definitely a habit that changed my life. And then other tools would be just the local community. And when I say local, I mean like Perth community, and having amazing people to continue to educate and inspire me at that time. Like, I was 18 going to Green Goodness Co workshops, which was Rachel's first business. And I remember literally being like the youngest person in the room. and being like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, nice. My phone keeps going off as well.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I know as a business owner, we spend so much of our time focusing on the business, and we get caught up in the day-to-day running of the business, things like, accounts and marketing, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that there's times where I just get exhausted and I question. Well, no, I have to remind myself why I'm doing it.
All right.
Maybe there's that reason that when I really boil it down, that reason that's driving me with Giving Greens or with any kind of business that I want to do, like the thing that I really want people to experience in their lives.
What is that, James? What is it what is your why? What is this purpose?
It's helping people realize the ability they have to just feel better. Like,
amazing.
Help realize the potential they have to do almost anything they like. But so many people just settle.
Yeah.
I love seeing people doing what they love. Like, one of the things I really love doing is watching, like, people dancing or performing or something. Like, they really love it and they get so into it, and you just get carried away. And I just love people doing that. Like, no matter what they're doing, like, they could want to be, I don't know, a scientist or something. But I just want to see people like super stoked about what they're doing. Like, 100%. Not waking emotions. I just want to see people happy. Yeah. That, like, getting back to that always brings me back. It gets me on track again. Although, there's all that day-to-day running of things. That's always what I go back to. Do you have something like that? Like, what is your deep down, that emotionally stirring why?
So, I guess that kind of comes down to my purpose. And it's interesting you ask me that, because this has been a massive self-reflection that I've been doing the last even just few days. Constantly self-inquiry, constantly self-assessment, constantly self-reflection. But just the last few days, I realized how many things aligned with the word balance for me. And I actually ended up changing my bio just the other day. And I said, helping people trying to find balance, but just remember 50-50 is BS. And it's so true. So I do talk about this where I'm like, you know, there's ebbs and flows in life, and sometimes things are going to require more attention than other parts of your life, and that's fine, and you have to be able to adapt accordingly. But what I realized is, like, I just think even equilibrium, like even just business perspective, it comes down to, because my business values and my personal values obviously align quite a lot, but they are a little different in that my personal values are freedom. That's why I love having a business. That's why I love meeting people, is that connection, that freedom, and just being able to thoroughly enjoy everything that I do. But then the other side of that is that equilibrium is balance. Like our nutritionist Eliza said to me the other day, she was like, equilibrium was equilibrium before you knew it was equilibrium. Like, I kind of picked that name, you know, I went on thesaurus.com and Googled the synonyms for balance of life. I was like, what do I want to call this place? Like, I don't know what it is. And then the pieces of the puzzle just fell together. And then 3 months after I opened, one of my PT clients noticed that EQ is in my freaking number plate. Like, there's just so many things. And I guess it just brings me back to constantly of community, which is connection. I love the ability to connect other people, and I love the ability to connect with people myself, and not on a superficial level, on like a deep level. Like, it can be a little bit hard to do sometimes in classes, and we try really hard to continue to facilitate that connection. However, I thrive, like, if I am in a one-on-one conversation with someone who is also passionate about whatever the hell they're doing with their life or who they are, like you, shit just lights me up. Like, I feel so good after, I feel so excited, and I feel so inspired. And so that's definitely one of my biggest passions, purposes, and why. And as I said, equilibriums is about balance, and I said balance is BS. However, it's just trying to figure out what that looks like for you. What does balance look like for an individual person? Figure that out, and then just try to be better than yesterday.
Yeah, of course. So what does balance look like to you?
Being organized AF so I don't lose my mind.
That's a cleaning fix today on Instagram.
It's honestly, yeah, the cleaning fix is great.
Yeah.
What does balance look like for me? As I said, one of my personal values is freedom. And I really encourage anybody who's watching this, you need to figure out what your personal values are so that you can start to live in accordance with them, and everything starts to make a lot more sense. And things start to drop off, and things start to gravitate towards you from that. And so I think what it is just, like I said before, and I know this is a little bit cliche, it's figuring out what is requiring more of my attention at that time, and then honoring my body and my life around that. So I will go through periods of hustle, and I'll go through periods where I retract inwards, and I go through periods where I want to spend all my time with morgues, and I want to spend all my time with my friends. And so I guess balance for me is just figuring out what my needs are at that point and honoring that.
Yeah, makes sense. I think I do a similar thing. Like, there's times where I'll work solidly. Then there's other times like all day on the beach.
Yeah, all day in your van.
I work a lot. Even when I'm down here, I'm still working.
It's so annoying though. But James, you deserve to. That's why we're self-employed, so that we're in control of our schedule, right?
But a big part of it for me is that I love business.
Yeah, same.
Like,
if we hated it, we'd be in a ward by now.
Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, no. You gotta love it. But I mean, I've always loved business, so it's one of those things that just excites me anyway. It's just also great that I have a business that I really enjoy doing, and I know is having a positive impact with people. Like, people love it. So that keeps me going. Like, so that's good.
Yeah. Because I know a few of my followers are watching. Can you answer what microgreens are and the benefits of them?
You want me to answer, or the followers?
Yeah. I want you to answer for the people watching.
Yeah. Well, but microgreens are basically really, really young salad greens. So if we think of, say, sprouts on one side of the spectrum, which is like germinated seed, and then you think of like a mature vegetable that you get, it's somewhere in the middle there. It's about 7 to 10 days old, grown to like its first leaf stage. The seeds are sown really densely to make them long and leggy. But the research shows that on a micronutrient level, that they're more nutrient dense than the mature versions. So this isn't the case with all of the vitamins and minerals. In some cases, the minerals are a bit lower, but in most cases, the microgreens are significantly higher than the mature. So we also have, less fiber, less calories, but we're getting more nutrition, more of the vitamins and minerals.
In for less, which I love, because when you were first talking about it, I was like, what is microgreens? And then you're like, it's like the seeds. It's like the beginning sprouts of what you need the most. And then, because everyone goes like, oh, I eat broccoli, I'm health. And you're like, And then when you find out that there's actually more nutrients in a smaller version, you're like, it's like a multivitamin in a plant form.
Exactly. This is how I describe them. Like, it is a multivitamin, it hasn't been processed, like, it hasn't been crushed down into some sort of pill or something. You're eating the living plant that comes with the enzymes that help with digestion as well, which is also super important.
Your body knows what to do with it.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't believe that people necessarily replace what they're eating now, if they're eating well. But I think that the microgreens would make a great addition. Just for that.
100%. Sorry to turn the interview around. I think the people need to know what microgreens are, though.
All right, that's good. I had another thought there about microgreens for a second, but it's gone. Sorry. No, I thought of it. So, comparing sprouts to microgreens. So a lot of people call the microgreens sprouts, but they're two very different products. So a sprout is basically a germinated seed. You think about, you fill up a jar with some seed, you put some water in, and let it soak for a day, and you drain that water off, and the seed just kind of sprouts. And they're normally like a really white-looking, and you eat the whole thing. But with a sprout, you're limited to the nutrients available from the seed itself. Like, it's impossible for nutrients from anywhere else. But with a microgreen, mine in particular, they're grown in a compost-based medium, which is living medium. It's not inert. It has life in it. That is able to give the microgreen more nutrients. So while I haven't seen any studies comparing microgreens, my theory would be that microgreens would be more nutritious than sprouts. And they're safer product to grow as well. They don't have the higher risk that sprouts have. That's a big difference between sprouts and microgreens.
And they're beautiful in their trays. They look fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
and they don't taste bad either, for anyone that's curious. They actually taste like the broccoli sprouts. So good.
Yeah, and they kind of get like a nutty flavor. Like, the flavors are always like you expect. They have a bit of spice and more intense and have more flavor to them. But yeah.
Did you want to touch on? I was going to say, do you want to touch on microgreens more, or did you have any other questions?
No, there was a thought I had specifically on microgreens, but it's gone again. That's all right. I do have a few more questions. We'll probably wrap up.
In about 5. Hit me. What do you got?
Rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire. Let's go.
What are some of the biggest hurdles that you have with your clients in helping them make transformations?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think when you're in a gym situation, having a higher end service, people show up because they're investing in themselves. And if you're investing in yourself, you'll show up. And what I find sometimes is we get too caught up in the busyness of life that it just becomes something we forget about. And that's when we need it most. So I think the challenge and the hurdle is getting into their brains that this is when this routine and this workout and this studio is the most important for you. Because this is what is keeping that momentum going to get you onto the right track and to your goals. Then the other thing is definitely their nutrition. I think everyone gets way too confused about it and overwhelmed. Actually, fun fact, I am running a Basics to Nutrition workshop on the 15th of October, which I'll put on Instagram soon. But I honestly think that everyone just overcomplicates food. And I'm like, you just need to eat a real food and you'll be fine. Like microgreens.
All right, last question. What does living a healthy, happy life mean to you?
Oh, I love that. Okay, healthy, happy life. It is not just about what you are putting in your body. It is also what is around you, and that means relationships. That means what you're doing for work. That means what you are spending your spare time on. So the connections need to be authentic. Your work needs to be something that at least at half the time lights you up in some way or another. And then, of course, that looks like moving my body in however that feels for me in that day. And then what else makes me live a healthy, happy life? Just seeing pleasure in the little things. That's been a massive thing for me at the moment. Like pure example, coming into spring, I am just noticing how beautiful the flowers are. And I said this to my friend the other day, and he goes, they've always been there. You just haven't seen them. And I'm like, excellent point. So just enjoying the small pleasures of life, and whether, mic drop, I'm done. And whether or not that is literally just actually taking a moment. Like yesterday, Morgan and I went for a walk, and I picked this, even though he was like, you're killing it. And I was like, it's so pretty. And I picked this flower and it was this beautiful yellow color. And then you look at it for a second longer and it's like 30 other little flowers in this one plant. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful. So it's really just seeing simple pleasures and making that light you up, because that's the shit that will make your life so happy and so abundant all the time.
I agree. Even just really thinking about the fact that we exist at all, like that is mind-blowing. Like, if you forget life, just remember that we could probably not exist, and just try to imagine what that would be.
100%. Let me do a super quick Google. Chances you're alive, and there's actually a statistic, and it's like I think it's like 1 in 1 trillion. Oh, so I don't even know how to say that number. It's basically 10 followed by 2.6 million zeros. That's the chance of you being an alive, existing fucking human being. So make the most of it, because this shit is cool if you actually make it cool.
But that's already taking the fact that life exists. Like, how easy it would have been for life to have not existed.
Yeah, hectic. Shit just got deep. That's a whole nother live game. Jesus Christ. So good. Yeah, so I think that's my answer to a happy, healthy life is moving my body however it feels good, making sure the connections around you are authentic and light you up, because I promise you, as soon as you start saying no to shitty things, better things come in. Absolutely tenfold. Don't doubt that for a second. And also just taking pleasure and happiness in the little things.
I agree. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough for me.
That's my rapid fire questions done.
Well done. Yeah. Well, technically it's more. It's been half an hour.
It's been a hot minute. I need to go have dinner. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you for being here. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Yes, you shall. Yes, you shall. With more Giving Greens recipes coming soon from thyself.
Love it. Hello.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.